Hey everybody, welcome back. So the plan is this week I'm going to do a two-part video just because I'm still not feeling too great. So I'm going to make this a relatively short one or try to make it as short as I can. And then Wednesday I'll post another one before class. So just bear with me. Sorry about the delay. We'll get all this stuff covered though. So just wanted to go ahead and just do a little bit of a review. This is the concept that I've been working on here that we did the block out, that I did the block out last time. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Megascans and we're going to talk about the HDRI plugin. So here we go. Alrighty. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Project Settings, sorry, Plugins, and you're going to want to search for HDRI. Now you'll see this HDRI Backdrop. If you don't have a blue check mark here, that's okay. That's why we're checking. So make sure you check that, and then you'll have to restart your engine. It'll recompile the shaders, and you'll have this HDRI backdrop plugin. What this plugin allows you to do is use HDRIs as your backdrop. Um, I will post this in the channel, but there is a website called Polyhaven right here, and you can get at HDRIs. So if we go to Assets, HDRIs, and I'm going to go to Outdoor and Overcast and just take a look at some of these. This is kind of, I like this one. I'm just trying to find something that matches that concept art. That one might work. Go ahead and use this one. So when I click this, it'll give me these options. You want to make sure that you select the HDR and not the EXR. The HDR is what Unreal will take. And you'll grab the 8K or 4K. You can go up to 16. I wouldn't go more. I wouldn't go higher than 8. Um, and then we'll just download that. So if I go into my downloads folder, it's off the screen, but you can see I'll go to my content browser, and I can drop this wherever, but we'll just make a folder. Actually, we'll just drop it in here. So let's just go and drag and drop. It's going to import it, say importing done, and you can see it's preparing a texture, and there's our HDR. So now, under our place actors, if I go to HDRI, I have this HDRI backdrop. I'm just going to drop it into my scene. And I usually just take it a little bit below the origin grid, or else you'll get the Z fighting stuff that happens. And then you'll see we've got over here, we've got this cube map. So now if I search, I go over here, and I just select this map, and then I go back over to my HDR settings. If I hit this little arrow, now it just loaded that HDRI. So the last step we have to do here is I'm just going to change the size to something like 1500, just so it's nice and big. And now you can see we get this really nice lighting. We'll talk about it in later classes. You can hide this so it doesn't show up in your renders or anything. But for now, this is all you need. So basically, what this has done is given us a really nice base lighting. The other thing we need to do is we need to make a post-process volume. So if I close that and I go to post process volume, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to drag it in. What this does is it allows like a post process over the viewport. In our search here, let's just type EXTEN, and that'll just, this is the infinite extents, and it just means that this box is infinite. So it'll affect the entire scene. The next thing we want to do is set our exposure. So if I type EXP, I'm going to go into this auto exposure histogram, and do our minimum max and then just set this to 2. And there we go. Now we're getting the HDR lighting the scene, which is really terrific. All right. So now that we have that in our scene, let's go ahead and take a look at Megascans. So in Unreal, if we go to Window and we go to Quixel Bridge, this is our Megascans kind of our interface here. It may ask you to log in. You just go up here to sign in, and you just sign in with your Epic Games account, which is what you use for Unreal. Just hit login, and then you'll get this interface. Um, I'll, if I click local, these are all Megascans that I've already downloaded, which is specifically for this environment. There's a few things that we want to talk about though when we're downloading these things. So I say I'm gonna grab a rock of some kind. If I go to home, go to collections, you'll see that there's a lot of these things that are already broken out into these big groups. And most of you will probably find most of your stuff in here. Um, you can feel free to use any of this stuff, but I'm just going to go to this Nordic forest and let's see. I'll just download these mossy rocks right here. So if I click this, it goes to a preview. And this is really important. Down here under related assets, you'll see this quality setting. You have low, medium, high, and nanite. So if you're using the Megascans for, say, like a ground plane that's very close to camera, you would want a nanite. But be careful about grabbing these because they're really, really big. They can get into the 20, 30 megabyte or gigabyte size. So for now, I'm just going to use medium quality. And then you can always, this is kind of how the bridge is set up. Most of this stuff should be set automatically for you, so just don't touch it. Um, and then we'll just, let's find something I haven't downloaded before. So let's grab this medium quality, and I'm going to download it. And you'll see under downloads, now it's downloaded. And what I can do, you can see in the content browser that this is the asset now inside of Unreal. So let's go back over to Unreal. And if I want to, I can just click and drag this out. I'm just going to close the content browser because I've got one down this drawer down here. And you can see now I've got a Megascans folder, 3D assets, and there's my material, and there's my asset, and these are the texture maps associated with it. So what that gave us was a really nice piece of ground. And what I would typically do, especially for an environment like this, I mean, this things can be scaled and moved. Is basically what you'll do is take these, move and scale, and obviously you're going to use more than just one because you'll start to see the pattern repeating. But this is kind of how I go about doing ground planes now. Again, let's turn these snapping off. And then once I get one group of these, I can just duplicate them, move them, rotate, and you just start layering these things in. It's very, very straightforward, very simple, but also very, very powerful. Now remember, these can be scaled in any direction. So if I wanted to be a little flatter, I can scale these down. And you would start piling these things in. So if I go back to bridge, I can do, so I've got all these check marks here. So if I just go to local, and if I control click all of these downloaded assets, I hit add, what this is going to do is add all of that into Unreal instantly for me. So now I've got boulders that I can drag out. We've got more embankments, some more stuff like this. So like if I wanted to build the side of this bank up, I could do something like that and then put the rock in. This is where it kind of gets into environment construction and layout. Is being able to do this. This is exactly how AAA games are built. They're built from assets just like these. And then I'll go through the entire environment and cover these assets. But I'm not going to do that in this video because it'll be very boring for me to watch. Um, and that's the gist of it. So for just for the next 2 days in class, get an HDRI into your scene and get into Megascans. Start downloading your stuff and start populating your environment. It's as simple as that. One thing with Megascans, these are all 3D assets. There are as well with these collections. So if I go back to that Nordic forest, just go to natural forest. You'll see these sphere things. These are materials. So materials can be applied to anything. Um, but typically they would be ground materials or some kind of surface material that would go on ground planes. This is kind of an older way of doing things, and a lot of AAA games won't use just texture-based stuff like that. Nowadays, a lot of times because of Nanite, we can just use actual 3D geometry, which is way better than just trying to do materials. I will go over a material setup in the coming weeks to talk about how to do basically like a landscape type of material, like a macro material. But that's a little bit further down the road. And that's it. That's all for today. Thanks for bearing with me. As usual, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.